In this tutorial, we will see how to use Drakkar HitPoints to manage an attack on a punching target. We have prepared a character with an idle animation and an attack animation. In its animator controller, the idle state transitions to punching via the punch trigger. After that, the animation returns to idle. Let's start by placing a Drakkar hit point on our character's hand. We will need a hit point definition. Let's create one by clicking on New and naming it Punch. Using Edit, set its mode to Cast and the radius to 0.2. The Cast mode means that our hit point will move to hit something. This also applies to sword, a mace, or any generic weapon. Set hit layers to everything and target layers to default, because default is the layer of the object we want to hit. Remember that target layers must always be a subset of hit layers. Since our fist will move quickly, set interpolation to ×2, because we want a certain level of precision. We can also use radius multiplier to fine-tune the size of our hit point. To make Drakkar HitPoints work, we need two things, an attacker and a target. Let's create a script that we will call Attacker. It will implement the iHitCaster interface, which includes two methods, hitpoint collided and hitpoint pre-post check. We don't need the latter for now. See the documentation for details. Hitpoint collided is called when a hit point collides with something. First, we check if the collision is valid and confirm a damage value, for example, 100 points. Then we drag our script into the iHitCaster field and enable Auto Update because we want our hit point to update automatically. The system will notify us that a Drakkar updater is required. Let's add one to the scene. We also need to add an animator field and assign it to our character's animator. In its update method, we wait for a key press to activate the punch trigger in the animator. Additionally, we provide the methods activate hitpoint and deactivate hitpoint. These will be called by animation events. They will call hitpoint set true and set false to activate and deactivate the hitpoint. So we also need a reference to our Drakkar hitpoint. Now, let's move on to the target by giving it a collider and a target collision component. It will also have an animator controller with an idle state and a hit state, which is activated by the punch trigger. Target collision will require an iHitTarget. Let's create one. It will implement iHitTarget, which includes several methods and properties. The ones we need now are just three. ID, which must return a unique ID for the target, usually an instance ID. To optimize performance, we can retrieve it in awake and cache it. Can be hit, which must return true for the target to be considered valid. Hit damage, which is called when the attacker confirms the damage. In this case, we need to know only whether the object was hit. So, we set the punch trigger in the animator to start the hit animation. The other methods and properties will be explained in dedicated tutorials and the documentation. To finalize everything, drag our script into the iHitTarget field of target collision and fill in the animator field. The attack animation must include two events that call activate hit point and deactivate hit point at the moments when we want the hit point to become active and when it should deactivate. Now let's check that everything is working correctly. For further details, refer to the Drakkar HitPoints documentation.